Sin and holiness. We don't talk too much about these concepts these days. They seem a little archaic. But are they archaic or are they artistic? You read about it in the book. David talks about the beauty of holiness. And we go, beauty and holiness? Come on. Holiness is an ill-fitting suit and a bad haircut and a great big Bible frowning at the world. Is it really, or is that just the bad PR? See, holiness is a perfection of a vision, full and complete in itself, lacking nothing. Holiness is integration. Sin is disintegration. Holiness makes you whole, one, unified, single. Sin breaks you apart, fragments you. One of my favorite scriptures is when Jesus quotes Isaiah and says, I've come to bind up the brokenhearted. That's not just for the lovelorn. That's for me and you, broken people who need putting back together again. If we're transactional, we tend to focus on sins, the acts we do that are wrong. We'll keep bringing our debts to God and try to zero out our debit and credit columns. You know, Jesus bought me lunch. Or we'll try to trade with God. We make deals. God, if you'll just bless me, forgive me, help me, provide for me, I will blank for the rest of my life. This is a transaction. We've seen those images of people crawling from one point to another, people beating themselves with whips, even having themselves crucified in the name of Jesus. You know about foxhole conversions. People trade with God. It's math. It's always a nickel's worth of sin gets a nickel's worth of grace. Well, as I say in the book, sin is not botching the perfect equation. Sin is messing with God's art. This explains to us how God can hate our sin without hating us. He's an artist. I'm an artist. I know. I've never hated a song I've written. I may have hated the fact that I couldn't get it the way I wanted it to be. I'm wrestling with the words. But I never hated the art. And that's the way God is. He never hates us. He just wants to rid us of that sin, that fragmentation, that disintegration that happens to us when we allow sin to mess with His art. A director is looking for a certain actor for a certain part because he's got a perfection of vision that he wants to accomplish. That's holiness. And when he has an inferior performance, that's sin. I told you about writing a second verse to that Beatles song, Blackbird, and how I had a conversation with the head of their publishing company. Man, it was so scary. The first thing he said to me was, "Hi, we're going to sue you." I fell apart. I just didn't know what to do. I'm glad they let me off, but I understand their attitude because I was messing with the perfection of their vision. I was compromising it. You understand that too, don't you? That God has a vision for you. That's what we call holiness. And anything that gets in the way of that, that's what we call sin. God has a great idea for you, something beautiful and good. So here's my question. How have you been helping God rid yourself of sin? Is there a problem sin you see differently now as perhaps messing with God's art? How would you have defined holiness before reading the book? And has it changed since you read the book? Have you made excuses that need to become confessions? Can you see disintegration, fragmentation in your life? Do you believe that no matter how flawed you've been, no matter how badly handled you were in your past, that God has a future and a hope for you, a new beginning?